boys and girls, I am back, and on today's episode of Party Time Excellent, I have a very special person for me specifically. It is my good friend and my band's sound engineer. I don't know for how long now, but he is with us for a while, so there's so much I can ask him. Please welcome Simeon Panov.
Party Time Excellent!
Ladies and gentlemen, I have here with me my good friend and sound engineer, Simeon Panov. Hello.
Hi everyone.
Thank you for accepting to do this. Do you do interviews very often?
Yes, every day 3 at least.
Well, good, because this is not an interview. This is just a friendly conversation, and we are doing this on a beautiful, beautiful day somewhere in the middle of nowhere in the mountains in Slovakia.
Yepers.
Yeah, so how many kilos do you think you lost coming up this hill?
All of them. I used to look much worse now. I just
No,
made
seriously, we had to hike super, super high to be here with this like beautiful view because we wanted to show you some beautiful landscapes that we sometimes get to see during a day off. So before I start asking you some questions, I want to tell everybody that we are actually during our summer tour, and we decided to film something interesting for you on our day off. And because I have a lot of love and respect for this specific person that has been part of Infected Rain for how many years now, Simon?
6 years.
6 years.
Plenty.
I really wanted to share his story with you guys because unfortunately not many of you or not many people in general know about all the people that are behind the curtains, people that help the bands sound better, look better, deliver better, feel comfortable on stage, and this is one of those people, and I'm very, very happy to have him on the team. So here you are. So Simon, I gotta ask you this one question because these episodes on my YouTube channel are called Party Time Excellent. I like to ask all my guests, what is really party time for you? You know, it can be something as simple as the weekend when you don't have work. It can be the shows when you actually have work. It can be a cup of coffee in the morning, a beer in the evening. It can be an actual party with a lot of people. What is it for Simeon Panov?
Well, I'm famous by hating fun.
So not true.
Yeah, I think the shows are my
Party.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
That's how I.
So the good party for you is a good show with good sound, with good people.
Good music.
Good music. Listen to good music.
Yepers.
So look, Simon, I really wanted to ask you a couple of things that I was curious about, but I think everybody would be curious about. What made you start being curious about sound? Because I know you played in bands before and you loved music and you've been part of bands. What made you like really be curious about sound and wanting to do sound, wanting to study sound? What drove you?
Yeah. Well, it was like a couple of years ago when I really wanted to be more involved with music. As you mentioned, I used to be a musician, but I couldn't make a living out of it. So I thought, how can I be more connected to music? And that was something I thought that could keep me closer to music and still be able to make a living out of it, but it turned out it's absolutely what I'm made for. That's what I'm believing.
Yeah, no, then that's good. That's perfect attitude. And I think everybody that is in any type of industry and loves their job, they have to believe in themselves. Just like you just said, you have to know that you're made for this and you believe in yourself and you put all your effort, time, money, and emotion into what you love and what makes you happy, yeah? Before we continue, by the way, I forgot to mention completely that Simon is actually from Bulgaria, Sofia to be more precise. So English is not his first language. So
Really? Not? I thought we can
so
fool them.
Russian is also not his second language or third, but by being in the band with Infected Rain, he became better.
I know all the swear words.
Yeah, he became better and better with both languages, which is super awesome because,
Yeah.
as I said, we feel like he is part of Infected Rain among
Yeah.
with everybody else just on the same level. So we just mentioned that actually 6 years ago you joined Infected Rain. Do you care to share that story from your part, how that happened, how you met us, how you reach out, and how you ended up being here after 6 years?
Yeah, well, that's quite a story. So, as we mentioned 10 times, it's been 6 years ago. The funny part is that almost by accident, a friend of mine asked me to do sound on a show for a not vocal band on a really small venue, and I didn't want to go because they literally couldn't pay me what I used to take per show at the time, but I thought like, why not? They're friends, I should help them and support. So I went to that club. It was really small, and then I met you guys, and that was the first time I actually did sound for you, and you sounded really good. And we kind of become friends, like not really communicating, but like we
Friends
got
on
really
social
friendly
media,
vibe.
yeah, and friendly vibe. That's true. I
Yeah.
remember that for sure.
And 1 year later, again by accident, you came again in Sofia to have a show, and appeared that I was the vocal sound engineer at that
place.
venue again. But it's like different venue, right?
Yeah.
So it's supposed to be a coincidence, which is not.
Duh.
And at the time, as it continues now, I'm really curious guy, and I always want to find my way to get as good as I can, to get all the opportunities to grow and to get better sound and be more involved in music. So at the time I really wanted to start touring. So we became friends with Vidik kind of after this meeting, and I told you guys, hey, if you want a sound engineer, don't hesitate to give me a call. I'm ready to jump without payment even. So you did give me a call and you paid me.
Yeah, it's true. But so on my side of the story, obviously, as you mentioned, you talked with Infected Rain's guitar player, most of it about this experience and how you really liked our band, our sound, our music, and you want to grow. And I want to mention that there's not too many people in this industry that I met personally that I've seen so much hunger for knowledge. And I love that about you so much, even though me and you had misunderstandings throughout this 6 years many times, because I am not a super qualified musician, and we all grow and learn.
Yeah.
And thank you. I mean, I am very thankful because I feel very safe in your hands. How does it feel to be so-called responsible for the sound of a band? Because obviously in these 6 years many things changed in our career. The band slowly, but it's going somewhere. And I want to know, do you feel pressure? Do you feel anxiety? Do you feel nervous for the band? Because in the end of the day, it's all in your hands.
Yeah. So I want to just go a little bit back before I answer that question. At the time when we started kind of communicating, me joining you in your tour in 2016 or so, 16, something like that.
Yeah.
Vidik, me and Vidik, we had a call and we talked on the phone, and I was that was like huge step for me, because I'm not a guy who is like looking too much for party and going crazy. So I wouldn't.
You never toured before either,
yeah,
right?
never. That was my first tour,
Yeah.
right? So for me was like, am I going to get what I'm going for, which is get better, finding way to make good music, sounding better, and so on. And Vidik at the time on that call had one sentence that literally I remember till today and holds me, and he said, we are looking for a person who is willing to grow with us. And that was like exactly what I needed. Like, come on, I want to grow. I'm not good.
Sounds like Vedic for sure.
And this is still keeping me here. And the cool part, like you asked me if I feel stressed sometimes. I'm not really feeling stressed or anything, but like I feel really responsible about what the audience are getting from the show. But throughout these 6 years, we worked on every single small aspect of the band, which makes me extremely proud. Like the first things we worked was how do we do sound check. Like in Infected Rain, nobody makes a single sound if I haven't asked them. So it's really funny because I work for the band, but the band never does anything if I don't ask them. So this is like paying so much respect to what I'm having to do in the moment, so I don't have to be stressed and trying to take my mind out of the noise in the room and fix something that I have to fix. So this is making my job really, really easy. And also Infected Rain is really consistent in a way that we are trying to do every single show just the same thing like previous show, so that is giving us stability and consistency in results. So yes, I feel really responsible, and sometimes I feel like, because we have obstacles, like not every time the PA and the speakers are what we want.
Expect,
Yeah. But then people are paying their tickets and they are coming to experience the band, right?
Yeah.
So translating the music from what is happening on stage through shitty speakers, getting to people's hearts, this is a huge challenge. Yeah, so getting what is the band doing on stage, get it through the speakers, translate it to people, it's literally, it can be challenged, but I love doing that. And really often I feel myself part of the song, what is happening in the moment. I try not to take my focus out of what is going on stage. I want to be part of the song, want to be engaged as much as possible, and I also try to have as much fun as I can.
And that is true. Sometimes I see from the stage, I see a super smiley face over there behind the buttons and mixer. I see sometimes a head-banging Simon. Sometimes I see his shirt up and horns up, and it's very, I will be honest, it's very encouraging. And I like how sometimes you can say something that only we can hear in our in-ears monitors, that is encouraging, that is helping. That's why I really like to say that Infected Rain is not just the people you see on stage, because it's very, very important. I think that your job could be even more important sometimes than one of the musicians in the band. Why? Because you can be the most talented musician, and you can have the most talented instrument if you are playing an actual instrument. But if you have a person that doesn't understand what you want to deliver, or doesn't have the knowledge to properly deliver that state of mind, that emotion, that music to the audience, then you are never going to achieve your goal. It's a work of, it's teamwork, you know, and I love having you on the team. So
thank you.
I think everybody should know this part, you know. Now, another
Thank
thing.
you very much. You're really kind.
Another thing that I really wanted to ask you is, from the touring aspect, you never toured before Infected Rain, and now we've been touring with you for the past 6 years. I believe there was only one tour that we couldn't physically have you with us. It wasn't our choice in these 6 years. What do you feel that people should know about touring life? Something that people don't get to understand. Like, what part you wish was better or easier? Because honestly, every time people ask me that in the interviews, and they say, you know, what's the most difficult part of touring? For me, is the travel part, because the older we get, the more I feel like traveling is super exhausting. and it can be 2 hours, it can be 12 hours, it can be in a very comfortable bed or bed bunk, or it can be on a sit, like just on a in a chair. That is still, it drains me specifically so much that it takes all my energy, all my power of will and everything to put together to be able to actually perform.
Yeah.
So how about you? I know you don't have to be on stage and look people in the eyes, or you're doing a little bit of a different work, but also insanely difficult, insanely important, and you know, all of us, we like depend on you. What part of the tour do you wish was different, or do you think that people should know? They don't really know what musicians are going through or something.
Well, I can absolutely understand that the traveling part for you would be difficult because you are a singer, so you are using your voice, your body on stage, and not having like really good conditions for rest, and traveling, that is always really exhausting on you. So I have this plus when it comes to the band, me being part of the band, because I'm behind the scene, so I can feel as grumpy as I want, but I try not to do that. Like you are, you know, I always, before the show starts, I try to be a bit more positive, talk positive on the talk back and everything. So I try to be emotionally connected to the band and to be supportive, because sometimes like we really need, like, people in the audience are not they can feel what we want to say. If we want to say something, they're not stupid. Like, words can fool people, but emotion is always true.
Oh yeah.
And the band is going through hard time, like leaving everything behind, what happened in the nightliner 2 hours ago, go on stage and do what we are there to do, right?
Yeah.
So for me, showers is always the most
All Simon
challenging.
needs for happiness on tour is shower every day, at least once
And
a day.
3 tomatoes.
And 3 tomatoes with onions.
Onions as well, yeah.
That's very important.
Yeah, actually, one thing, like, we are self-contained band. We carry with us everything we need for the show. Literally everything, every stand, every microphone. And there is really, really little we ask for from the venues and the promoters. Promoters are doing great, but very often the venues don't
Provide.
work on our rider, technical rider, and our technical rider is like almost nothing, and we don't
It's
get
very
it
simple, yeah.
very often.
So you're basically saying we wish that
Yeah.
people would
not
honor
neglect,
and not neglect the band's requirements, and
which are really small.
And I totally agree.
Yeah.
That being said, I didn't mean this conversation to be fully about Infected Rain, because I wanted to also hear you speak a little bit about how you do sound in general. And I know you do sound for orchestras sometimes, and you are hired for completely different genres and all. Would you tell us a little bit about it? How much you like that or dislike that? What are the challenges behind doing the sound for an entire orchestra with so many different instruments, or vice versa, doing sound for a completely different genre like a pop musician or a choir or a, I don't know, different, like maybe you can share a little bit.
Yeah, for me, for some reason, it has always been the biggest challenge, communication with people. Like, I'm really emotional person, and I easily get in fire. Like I always have strong emotions, right? And I'm really demanding when I work. I always know what I want, and I want it in a specific order. For me, and that has been the always the biggest challenge for me. Otherwise, it's plenty of fun working with different stuff and genres and musicians in all kind of genres. Like, music is so rich, and it can communicate in so many levels, so I enjoy doing everything I get to do. I am really annoyed working with people who just want to make the show today and don't really care about what's the level of delivering what we are doing there,
Okay.
right? The show. So this is the only thing. I'm not gonna say what I enjoy more or less.
Yeah.
My personal choice of music is almost never metal, but I enjoy so much working with metal because you need to make it understandable, tight. It's like all the emotions out of the music are screaming so loud
Yeah.
that you can ignore them. So I really enjoy working all the genres I get to work.
Okay.
So
Well,
I'm
I
really
have-
lucky.
That's I think that we are lucky as well because we are also very passionate people. I know I am very, and having another super passionate that can work in your advantage and disadvantage sometimes because you get frustrated maybe a little bit easier, or vice versa, you get little things make you happy, right? So that's why I also have this next question where I would like you as a sound engineer to share with the world, what do you use when we go on tour? Because I know you've upgraded from certain things that you literally made by yourself.
Yeah.
And I want people to hear this story because the majority of musicians that come from countries with less possibilities for musicians or less opportunities, they like to blame that on their salary or their country or their possibilities, financial situation, time situation. I want you to share with people, what did you start with, how did you put things together, and literally what are you working with right now?
Yeah. Well, so I really like talking stuff like that. So I would like to mention the first mixer I had with Infected Rain, and it was really small desk controller I built myself. So at the time we had the Behringer X32 rack version, and I really need faders when I work because I'm doing a lot of stuff doing the show. Like my work usually doesn't go, I do okay sound, then I can drink beer and talk to people. That doesn't go for me for some reason. I'm so bad that I have to tweak all the time. So I decided to build a controller, and I found the cheapest motorized faders, and then I found the cheapest touchscreen you can ever find, and got 2 pieces of metal, form it into a mixer, use a couple of screws, put it together, and that worked.
And it worked for years.
For
and not
years.
only it worked for years, it worked amazingly. We had people make fun of us.
Yes.
We had people pointing fingers at us and being like, what the hell is
Yeah,
this?
I remember this guy.
And it was more than once, and
Yeah,
some venues we would play would offer this humongous things that are like there to do sound, but Simon still decided to do it on his thing, the things he knows, and
Yeah.
it would sound way better than like the band that would play before or after, not because we are better as musicians, just because of how passionate and how much he knows his own work, his own job, his own instrument, and his own tool. So and I'm sorry to interrupt you, I think it's a very good example that people should know this.
Yeah, if you want something, you can always get it. And I was always like really passionate about getting my preset ready and really fast to change and adapt for the specific place. And I, as sound engineer, work really compressed. Like I think I'm the most compressed sound engineer ever heard working. That's because we have huge stages, playing in front of 1,000, and the next day we can play in front of 150 people.
Yeah.
And the rooms are all kind of
Shapes.
various
Yeah.
and shapes. Yeah. So I need to be able to have a huge control of everything I get as a signal in the desk. And at the time when I realized that, I had my preset going, and I have so much parallel compression on my desk that I wouldn't change it for any better desk.
Yeah.
So right now,
What are you using right now?
right now what I'm using the Midas M32 core for in-ears with I just got the new stage box, the Midas L251. And for the front of house, I'm using Emotion LV1 through SoundGrid. They are communicating both desks, and I get to do whatever I want with the in-ears, so you can have all kind of wishes about what you're hearing in the in-ears, and I can have absolutely separated mix for the front of house. And the good part is this is coming in a 2 or 3 boxes, which in total weight are less than 50 kilos.
That's
or
amazing.
around
so
50.
you can travel with it, go on a flight with it. That is so cool. Now, because you mentioned different shapes and different types of venues with different amount of crowd, I will ask you this question that is actually asked to me very often in interviews. Do you, as a sound engineer, prefer and have more fun doing sound at a festival or in a club?
Yeah.
I know they are very different, and they both can be
Really?
fun. And vice versa, they both can be like not fun, because
Not fun at all.
I know
sometimes.
at a festival we get literally 10 minutes
Yeah.
to do everything before the show.
Like getting on stage, check left, right, sub, and front view, whatever they give you, and then you start the show. And this is really shocking for me. Yeah. Well,
However,
I don't know.
if you could choose, do you have a preference? You don't have to choose. You
Yeah,
can choose
of course.
both. Yeah.
Well, I really like both. It's really, really exciting. I find it like I'm not really good system engineer myself, but I find it super irritating how people are really, really not doing great job with systems really often, and it's not so like you can go to a huge festival with hundreds of people, thousands of people, and still the system is not set up as good as I wish. That's why I would go for a headlining show in a venue like not bigger than 1,000, not smaller than 500 people.
Okay.
These are my favorite because usually then I have the time to fix the PA. If it's not good, then I have time for sound check, and that's plenty of fun.
I love that. I love that. Okay, thank you so much. Well, this was a lot of information, technical information, emotional information, a little bit of history of Infected Rain.
Yeah.
Now, I will round it up a little bit here, and I want to end this conversation with you with 2 questions that I always try to ask my guests. First question is, what is that one question that you are sick of people asking you? Not necessarily during interviews, during your job, during your, your career as a person that studies sound and creates, the sound. What is that one question that you wish people stopped asking because it's just either a very, self-explanatory question, or it's because you're just tired to answer that question? Or do you have a question like that?
Yeah. Where is the gaffer? No, I in general I don't like small talks. Like I just don't like small talks. That's why even when we go on shows, I talk only to fans I know, just because I don't have to tell them how did I travel, how do I I don't like small talks.
Gotcha. Okay, all right, I'll take that. And last question is, what is a question or a topic you wish people were more curious about and would ask you more, even the musicians you work with, not necessarily only Infected Rain, in general, all the musicians you work with in the studio or during shows, live shows. What do you wish people were more curious about and would ask you about it?
Yeah, I'm really huge fan of talking about music and all kind of genres. That's why I really enjoy talking with Vidic. Very often we exchange music and talk about music. Like we have days listening to classical music, then we listen to EDM and then metal and then go everywhere. So
talks about music is something that you prefer the most.
Yeah, like if you get a certain song and something pops out in the song, could be the lyrics, could be instrument, anything that makes you feel good, and talk about it. This is like plenty of fun.
Yeah. So
for me.
basically, the conclusion is music makes
Yep.
Simon happy and the world happy, man. So thank you so much for doing this with me. Thank you. I appreciate your answers. I appreciate you willing to do this with me. I know you don't get to do this very often. And yes, thank you for being with us. And yeah, hope to do more stuff like that with you more often. Yeah.
Thank you for
Thank you so
having me.
much. And thank you so much for watching. This was Bananas. Don't forget to smile. Tell them.
Don't forget to smile.
Yeah.
Day of morning, huh? I just need to make a hole here so I can reach, but I don't have for this. It's not working.